Hello everyone. I try to make revision of midterm topics. I'm not gonna give the all things, but I'm gonna make revision of the include in the topics of midterm. Okay, let's start. Let's start the question of the GDP calculation for nominal GDP, real GDP, growth rate, and inflation rate. Let's take the laser. The main idea of the calculation of GDP, we can include the calculation of final goods and services. We cannot include the intermediate goods or services. For that questions, you see 4 types of goods over there: laptop, phone, watch, and furniture. And I give 2 years to you. These goods are final goods. That's why we can include into the calculation of GDP. And GDP calculate into 2 ways: nominal GDP and real GDP. So the first question is calculate the nominal GDP for 2 years. Then I ask the real GDP for 2 years. Then I ask the growth rate for 2023. Then I ask the inflation rate for 2023 by using the GDP deflator. Okay, let's start. And one more point is over there. I give the base year, 2022. The base year mostly related with the real GDP. We can show on the real GDP calculation. Okay, let's start with the question A. The question A asks, what is the nominal GDP for 2022 and 2023? So there are 2 questions over there. The nominal GDP is easy to solving. The main idea is we take the price for what year I ask to you, and for the quantity, what year I ask to you. And for the value of the goods or services, we can calculate by multiplying price and quantity for each goods. So by getting the summation of the value of the goods or services, we find the nominal GDP. Okay, let's start. Nominal GDP 2022. I ask the year of 2022. For each goods, for price and quantity, we take the year of what year I ask to you. I ask the year of 2022. So for each price of goods, take the year of 2022. For the quantity, again, what I ask year to you, 2022. You see over there. Yeah, let's look at it. So 2000 multiplied 5 plus 1000 multiplied 8 plus 250 multiplied 2 plus 1500 multiplied 6. So the answer is 27,500. Okay, the logic is easy. We take the year of for the price what I ask year to you, and for the quantities the same direction. What about the other year? This time I ask the year of 2023 for the nominal GDP. For price and quantity, for each goods, we take the year of 2023. So it's like that. Okay? It's very easy. For the price and quantity, we take the year of what I ask year to you. Okay? So the nominal GDP for 2023 is huge number. Okay, is there any important order? No. So nominal GDP, it's like that. What about the real one? What is the difference between the nominal GDP and real GDP? What can we see over here by 2022 to 2023? It's become higher number. Where it come from? It may come from the increase of the price, maybe, or it's increases of the quantity, or both. There are many options. For the real GDP, we try to understand the increase or decrease come from the changes of the quantity. By doing this, we are fixing the price by using the base year. By fixing the price, we are able to understand if there is an increase in real GDP, we understand that it's come from the increase in quantity. If it's decrease over there, we can understand that it's come from the decrease in the quantity. So the main difference is in real GDP, we are going to eliminate the price effect. Mostly in Turkey, that price effect is positive, so it's called inflation rate. Okay, in the question, give the fixing the price year. That fixing the price year called base year, and base year is 2022. So we are fixing the price of 2022. So in the question, you always take the price of the base year. What about the quantity? In the quantity part, we take the what year I asked to you. Okay. In nominal GDP, both we can take what year I asked you, but in real GDP, we take the base year price, multiply the quantity of what year I asked you. Again, it's look like easy, but you try to do yourself to understand the mechanism. So, real GDP 2022. For the price for the each goods, we take the price of 2022. For the quantity, again, not again. For the quantity, we take the what year I asked you, that part. It's look like the nominal GDP of 2022. It's logic. In the base year, the nominal GDP equal to real GDP. That's why these are look like they equal. Okay. But don't forget, for the price, we take the base year price. But for the quantity, what year I asked you? I asked the year of 2022. That's why we can take over there. So 2000 multiply 5, 1000 multiply 8, plus 250 multiply 2, and 1500 multiply 6. Again, same number. I said in the base year, the nominal GDP equal to real GDP. What about the other part? Other part of the question, real GDP 2023. What can I say? For the price, we get the price of the base year price. For the quantity, what I asked to you of the year. I asked the year of 2023. So for the quantity, we take the 2023. For the price, we take the base year price. You see over there. So it's like 200 multiply 20, 1000 multiply 10, 200 multiply 4, 1,500 multiply 12. Okay. Again, I take laser. So in nominal GDP 2023, we find bigger than that number. So the difference maybe come from the, not maybe, it's come from the price increases mostly. But in the question of the third part, calculation of growth rate, we try to understand how much amount of increases come from the quantity part. We use the growth rate. In growth rate, we always use the real GDP, always. I asked the growth rate of 2023. We can use the percentage change formula by using the real GDP. Percentage change formula is like that. Firstly, we take the what year I asked to you minus 1 year earlier divided 1 year earlier. Okay. So when I ask growth rate 2023, we take the real GDP 2023 minus 1 year earlier real GDP 2022 divided real GDP 2022. This is the growth rate. That's why also we multiply our results to 100. So the answer is 150.91. Okay. Let's look at the last part of the question. This is related with the inflation. I asked the inflation rate for 2023 by using GDP deflator. By doing that question, we can remember the formula of GDP deflator. GDP deflator is nominal GDP divided real GDP multiply 100. Then finding 2 years of GDP deflator, we use again the percentage change formula for finding the inflation rate. Let's remember our nominal and real GDP results on the question. Okay, firstly, I'm going to show everything, then I tell the story. In the question, I asked inflation rate 2023. I said the inflation rate calculation is look like the growth rate. In growth rate, what can we use? The percentage change formula by using the real GDP. The same mechanism, but this time when I ask the inflation rate, we can use the GDP deflator. But the mechanism is the same, percentage change formula. I ask the year of inflation rate. I forget to put over there rate, but this is the inflation rate. I ask the inflation rate for the 2023. So we can start GDP deflator 2023 minus 1 year earlier GDP deflator 2022 divided 1 year earlier GDP deflator 2022 multiply 100. Okay. How can we calculate GDP deflator 2023 and GDP deflator 2022? How can we calculate it? By using the GDP deflator formula. Let's look at how can we calculate GDP deflator 2022. I said nominal GDP divided real GDP for what I asked here to you. Nominal GDP 2022 divided real GDP 2022 multiply 100. You can see over there these numbers are equal. When we calculate 100, the result is 100. And one more thing, I said in the base year, the nominal GDP equal to real GDP. That's why every time in the base year, GDP deflator is equal to 100. Okay, let's look at the GDP deflator 2023. We can divide the year of 2023 for the nominal to real, multiply 100, then we find another number, 236.23. Then put these numbers into the equation, then find the inflation rate. Okay? As I said before, please try to do yourself to understand easily. And please find the different example to understand more easily. Okay, let's make the same example with understanding easily. This time we see the 3 years and 3 products. If you don't read the questions, you are on wrong way. Let's tell the story. Simple economy that produce 3 types of goods and services. Okay, 3 types of goods. 2 final goods and 1 intermediate goods. What can I say? In the calculation of GDP, we can only focus on the final goods. We cannot include the intermediate goods. Intermediate goods try to help the produce of final goods. That's why we cannot include it. What if can we include it? That is called double counting. Okay, let's look at the details. These are the goods or services produced. Pizza, final goods. Latte, final goods. Cheese for pizza. Cheese for pizza, okay? That is intermediate goods. That cheese try to produce of pizza. And we cannot include the calculation of GDP for intermediate goods. And one more detail, the base year is 2021. So if I ask that type of question before starting, you can delete the intermediate goods row. Okay, we can delete it. So we have 2 goods. The questions are the same for the previous questions, but this time I asked 3 years for the nominal, real, growth, and inflation. Okay, let's solve together quickly. And one more, again, indicate that part. We cannot include the calculation of GDP for the intermediate goods. That's why we can delete that row for the cheese. Because cheese are try to help production of pizza. So we have 2 types of final goods, pizza and latte. Intermediate goods are not counted in the country's GDP. That's why we can delete that row. Then start the calculation of nominal GDP. Let's start the 2021. In nominal GDP, for each goods, we get the price and quantity. What year I asked to you for the calculation of the value. So 10 multiply 400 plus 2 multiply 1000. Let's come to the other year, 2022. In nominal GDP, for the price, what year I asked to you. For the quantity, again, the same. 11 multiply 500 plus 2.5 multiply 1100. And one more thing. In the midterm exam, you are able to use the calculator, not phone, calculator. So don't forget come with the calculator. And let's look at the 2023. This time, for the price and quantity, we take the year of 2023. So 12 multiply 600 plus 3 multiply 1,200. Okay, we find the nominal GDP part. Let's come to the real GDP part. In the real GDP part, we take the price of the base year for the quantity, what I ask here to you. Okay. And I said in the base year, nominal GDP equal to real GDP. And the question give the base year, 2021. For the price, we take the base year. For the quantity, we take the what year I asked to you. Let's come to the other part. Here I take the all steps. Then look at the differences to understand more easily. I said in the real GDP, we take the price of base year. So we always take the 2021. You see it over there. For the quantity, we take the what year I asked you. That part, we ask the 2021. So for the quantity, 2021, 2021. In 2022, for the quantity, 2022, 2022. And lastly, when I ask 2023 for the quantity, we take the quantity of 2023 for the each goods. Okay. We again take the laser. Okay, then come to the growth part. I said in the growth rate part, we take the real GDP. And we use the percentage change formula. Like that. It's the same question, so I'm not gonna give the whole detail. Firstly, we take the what year I asked to you. Then minus 1 year earlier divided 1 year earlier. I'm not gonna check the results. Please do it yourself. If maybe your answers is different, but that logic is true. I'm not gonna check the results. But I remember these results are true. What about the 2023? This time, we need to take real GDP 2023 and 1 year earlier, 2022 for the real GDP. Okay. Then let's come to the last part, the inflation rate by using the GDP deflator. Firstly, 2022. Again, the logic is the same with the growth rate. So we calculate the GDP deflator 2022 and 1 year earlier, 2021. And I said in the base year, GDP deflator is equal to 100. What about the GDP deflator 2022? Nominal GDP divided real GDP for the what year I asked you, multiply 100. We find that number. Then we can put into the equation to find inflation rate. And the same with the 2023. I said, please try to do it yourself. I'm not gonna give the whole detail of the solution, but I'm gonna point in the slides. Okay, this is the first part of the GDP part. Then we focus on the labor part. I'm not gonna ask the types of the types of the labor part, but I'm gonna show the three formulas for the labor, calculate on the labor calculation. The first formula is labor force. Labor force equal to employed plus unemployed. If you come to the Moodle and open the slides, you can find the details of what's the meaning of employed, unemployed, and other things. I'm not gonna give on that video. Then the second formula is unemployment rate. Unemployment rate equal to unemployed divided employed plus unemployed multiply 100. So employed plus unemployed is called labor force. So if you want, you can write in that way also. This is the second formula. Then the last formula is labor force participation rate. Employed plus unemployed divided population multiply 100. So also this part called labor force. So labor force participation rate is labor force divided population multiply 100. So three formula. So don't worry about to memorize. And in the lesson, I tell how can you memorize or remember it. But in this video, I'm not gonna tell. And don't worry, it's easy to understand and easy to remember. So how can I ask them in the midterm? Okay, let's take a video, not video, sorry. Let's take a question. Okay, in the question, I ask the employed number of the labor market. I give the unemployment rate, labor force participation rate, and population. Before starting question, my offer is to write all formulas, all three formulas. And look at that first. Look at that formulas. Look at that part. If you know two things, you are able to find the third things. For example, if you know labor force and employed, you are able to find the unemployed. Or if you know unemployment rate and labor force, you're ready to find unemployed. It's like that, okay? But you are able to also use your solution. Okay, let's start. I'm gonna write over the population formula, but don't worry, you are not gonna memorize the population formula. Okay. I said you can see that part, but let's look at it. Can we know the labor force? No. Can we know the unemployed? Employed, sorry. No. Can we know the unemployed? No. So you cannot start with the labor force formula. Can we know the unemployment rate? Yes. Unemployed? No. Labor force? No. What about the last formula? Can we know the labor force participation rate? Yes. Can we know the labor force? No. Can we know the population? Yes. If you know two things, you are able to find the third things. So we can start with the labor force participation rate. What is the labor force participation rate? 59.7. equal to, we don't know the labor force, so write the labor force divided population 106.2 multiply 100. Then let's make the cross multiply and find the labor force. 63.40. If you don't understand how can make to find these results, you can send email to me. Then I'm gonna tell by one-to-one on the Zoom. So don't worry, you can ask anything before lecture. Okay. Then I said if you know two things, you're able to find the third things. So we are able to find the labor force. We are still don't know the employed and don't know the unemployed. So skip that labor force formula. Let's come to that part. We know the unemployment rate. We don't know the unemployed. But now we are able to know the labor force. So we know the two things, unemployed and labor force. So we are able to find the unemployed. Again, the same mechanism, unemployment rate 5.2 equal to unemployed divided that number 63.40 multiply 100 and the answer is 3.30. Okay. Then we know the labor force. We don't know the employed, but we are able to know the unemployed. So by using that equation, we are still able to find the employed number. 63.40 minus 3.3, and we are able to find the employed number, 60.1. Okay. And one more thing, in your midterm, the questions are multiple choice, so don't worry to make wrong. Okay. Then first we talk about the GDP part, then labor part. Let's talk about the more information about the inflation part. In the GDP part, we talk about the GDP deflator to find inflation. But normally the inflation calculated in three ways. The first one is GDP deflator. The second one is consumer price index. And the last one is producer price index. I'm not focused on the producer price index in your midterm, but I focus on the CPI, consumer price index. In the real GDP part, for eliminating the price effect, we are fixing the price. The same, not the same mechanism, but the idea is the same. But this time we try to understand the inflation. Is there any increase in price or not? By doing this time we are fixing the quantity. Or we are fixing the basket, okay? The same mechanism with real GDP. In real GDP, we are fixing the price. In the CPI, not fixing the price, we are fixing the quantity. To understand, is there any increase in price or not? Okay. I'm not gonna write the detail. I forget over there, but these three goods are final goods. I check, pizza and book. We take the 3 years, 2023, 2023, and 2024. And the base year is 2003. Okay. I said for the CPI calculation, we are fixing the quantity. So for calculating the expenditure, we always take the base year quantity this time. So for 2003, we take the price of what year I asked you. And for the quantity, base year quantity. So 50 multiply 1 plus 10 multiply 20 plus 25 multiply 20. So in 2003, the expenditure by taking the base year quantity, 750. What about the 200 and 2000, sorry, 23? For calculating the expenditure, this time we are fixing the not this time, all time. We are fixing the quantity by take the year of base year. So it's like that. 1 multiply 100 plus 20 multiply 50 plus 20 multiply 25. Okay? We don't take this quantity because we fixing the basket, or we are fixing the quantity of the base year. So the expenditure in the base year, by take the base year amount, the expenditure is equal to 900 for the 2023. And the same logic with 2024. We take the quantity of the base year, and for the price, what I asked to you, 1 multiply 85, 20 multiply 14, 20 multiply 27.5. In 2024, the expenditure in the base year amount, by taking the base year amount, 950. Again, that's the note for understanding the mechanism. Then by calculation of inflation, the mechanism again the same. In previous question, we take the GDP deflator, but this time we take the CPI by using the percentage change formula. Let's look at that formula part. For calculating the CPI, we take the expenditure in what year I asked to you, divided the base year expenditure. For example, CPI 2023, what can I say? First, we take the what year I asked to you. I asked the year of 2023, so we take the 900 divided the base year expenditure. And base year expenditure is over there, 750. And CPI 2023. First, we take the what year I asked you. I asked the year of 2024, so 915 divided the base year expenditure, 750. And always we multiply the 100. Okay? So CPI 2023 is 120, and CPI 2024 is equal to 122. Then calculate the inflation. I said the inflation rate calculation is the same with percentage change formula. Firstly, we take the what year I asked you, then minus the 1 year earlier divided 1 year earlier. Multiply 100. I forget to add 100 over there, but we can put over there. So don't forget to multiply 100. So 122 minus 120 divided 120 multiply 100, it's 1.7. I think these numbers also include the decimal, but I'm not gonna put over there. But in the midterm, I'm gonna give the easy numbers to calculate, so don't worry. Also, these are the easy numbers. Okay, in the first question, we use the GDP deflator to calculate inflation. This time we use the CPI to calculate inflation. Okay, then come to the last part. I'm not gonna put all things over there, but we are talking about the Keynesian functions in the closed economy without government, then focus on the closed economy with government, then focus on the open economy. Please, before starting that part, open the slide, open the previous slides and understand the mechanism. I'm not gonna tell everything over there. It's just like the problem solution time, okay? But I'm gonna give a little bit detail. In the first economy type, closed economy without government, we take only consumption and planned investment. Then when we add the government or state into the economy, we put the government expenditure and disposable income. Disposable income equal to total income or total output minus net taxes. Then we come to the open economy time. We try to start the foreign trade or international trade. Then we must add into the net export. Okay, let's look at the detail. This is the consumption function. This is the autonomous consumption plus marginal propensity to consume multiply disposable income. Disposable income is equal to total income minus net taxes. And net taxes is equal to autonomous net taxes. Autonomous means fixed value. It cannot affect by the changes of the dependent variable. Planned investment is also autonomous. Government expenditure also autonomous. And net export is equal to export minus import. And export is autonomous. But import part is different. Autonomous import part plus marginal propensity to import, sorry about waiting, multiply total income. Okay. And I'm gonna tell something over there to share other screen. I'm gonna open the whiteboard. Then I return back to our slides. I said two things over there. Marginal propensity to consume. Let's look at the formula. This is delta consumption divided delta y. And I'm not put some things over there, but you should know previous slides. Marginal propensity to saving delta S divided delta y. And I told something into the lecture. MPC plus MPS equal to 1. And I make the derivation of where it comes from in the lecture. And one more thing, marginal propensity to import. This is delta M divided delta Y. Okay. These are the additional reminder. Yeah, let's return again our slides. We did part in MPC, MPM. And before start that part, please come back and make revision about to understand easily. Okay. A new question to you. Table question. In the first column, I give the total income part, net taxes, disposable income, total consumption, planned investment, government expenditure, net export, and aggregate expenditure for the open economy. And I ask the equilibrium. Before start again, let's come over there. Aggregate expenditure formula, total consumption formula, disposable income, net export, planned investment, government expenditure, net export. Okay. And one more thing. In the question I asked the equilibrium. The equilibrium condition is when the aggregate expenditure equal to total output or total income, show the equilibrium. Okay, let's start. And one more point. Let's CO, autonomous consumption, show when our income is equal to 0, the value of the total consumption show the autonomous consumption. Autonomous consumption cannot affect by the changes of income or disposable income, so it's not related with the changes of the dependent variable, so it's autonomous. Okay, let's start the question by giving these details. Okay. Firstly, try to understand the questions. In the first column, I give the total income or total output. And look at that part. What is the difference over there? 100, 100, 100, 100. Its changes always 100. That is important. I said the net taxes is autonomous. Autonomous means that is fixed in all row. Okay. So when I put 200 over here, it's 200 in all row. And let's turn to the disposable income part. Disposable income, total income minus net taxes. So 200 minus 200, this is 0. 300 minus 200, it's like that. You can do like that. Or one more thing. I said the total income always changes in 100. So these parts also changes to 100. So increase 100, increase 100. It's like that. But please always check. 200, 300, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 800. What about the consumption part? What can I say? What is the difference over here? I said it's increase 100. Sorry about my painting. When income changes 100, what about the changes of consumption? 600. Don't forget, I'm not gonna write whole row, just that part. So when income changes 100, consumption changes 600. Let's look at that part. Income changes 100. What can I say? When income changes, again, I'm gonna write to understand easily. When income changes 100, if I take my mouse, it's really easy for me, but I forget to take it. When income changes 100, the total consumption increase 600. Okay? And the total income always changes 100. So consumption changes to increase 60 to 60. Okay? Always increase 60 because the changes of income equal to 100. When income changes equal to 100, the consumption changes 60. But for the investments, that is not the same mechanism because investments are the autonomous. Autonomous means fixed. So 120. It's the same for the old row. The same mechanism for the government expenditure. But in the real life, for the investments affected by the changes of interest rate. But this is assumption to solving easily for the example. I set the government expenditure also fixed autonomous value. And net export part. Well, again, the same logic with the consumption for the net export. When total income increased 100, what is the difference over there? Minus 10. So the income change is always 100. So the net export always decrease 10. Okay. 900, 800, 7, 60, 50, 40, and 30. Then let's come to the easy part. Aggregate expenditure, consumption plus planned investment plus government expenditure plus net export. So that question, if you don't know anything, you are still able to solve it by using these mechanisms of the changes of income. But you should know these parts are autonomous. So 100, the first word 100 plus 120 plus 220 plus 110. 550. Then 600 to calculate these parts. And you're able to understand easily to find the differences. What is the difference over there? 50. Again, the same logic with consumption and net export. So it's changes by 50. Or if you don't believe me, you are going to calculate that part. 650, 70. It changes by the 50. So what is the answer? I said the equilibrium condition is aggregate expenditure. When aggregate expenditure equal to total income, we can find the equilibrium. 200 is not equal to 550. These parts also not. Where it can equal that part. 900 for the total income and aggregate expenditure 900. These parts cool. Again, I'm gonna point. When total income equal to aggregate expenditure, that indicates the equilibrium. Okay, let's come to the other slides. These are the examples of using table. I think I have 2 more questions left. I give all formula again over here. I'm also able to ask what is the marginal propensity to consume? What is the formula over there? Delta C divided delta Y. You don't look at the point over there, indicator over there. Delta means change. What is the change over there? 60. What is the change of the Y? 100. If you take different 2 numbers, again you find the same answer. So 60 divided 100, the marginal propensity to consume is 0.6. So MPC is equal to 0.6. What about the MPS, marginal propensity to saving? I said MPC plus MPS equal to 1. So marginal propensity to saving, MPS, equal to 0.4. Okay. I'm not going to ask over there, but I may ask in the exam. And I'm not going to write over here, but okay, let's ask that part. What is the NPM? This time you look at the changes of M part. 15. So delta M is equal to 15 divided 100. Okay. Again, very easy. Okay, I think it's the last example. Okay. I take the laser for the solving. I said imaginary economy, but this is the open economy. How can I ask? How can I understand? By looking to that part. Total consumption, plant investment, government expenditure, and net export. When I see the net export over there, it's turned into the open economy. I give the consumption equation over there, investment equation, government expenditure, net export, import function, net export, and equilibrium condition. Sorry. Okay, before starting the answer, let's write that part. This is autonomous consumption. This is MPC. Sorry for my writing. This is NPM. And this is autonomous import part. and net axis is equal to 0. Okay. When I ask equilibrium in that type of question, you start with the aggregate expenditure. And one more thing, normally in the lecture, we are made the derivation of multiplier, but I decide that I'm not gonna ask the multiplier. That is the gift for Bayram or Ramadan. Because I think it's not easy for the memorize it for the multipliers. But after your university, if you enter the economy exams or the government exams, you should memorize it, or you try to understand how can it to make memorize of the multipliers, important topics, okay? But I'm not gonna ask the multipliers in the midterm. But I may ask the how can we find the equilibrium income? When I ask equilibrium income, we always start with the aggregate expenditure function, okay? Total consumption plus planned investment plus government expenditure plus net export. And net export equal to export minus import. Don't forget minus import, okay? Normally minus import equation is over there. And we can put minus over there. Okay. The consumption equation is 100 plus 0.8 multiply YD, then plus investments 100, plus government expenditure 60, plus export 70, minus import part 50, plus 0.2 multiply Y. So in the second step, we can put YD over there, Y minus T, and T is equal to 0, and put negative numbers to the inside of the parentheses. 100 plus 0.8 multiply Y minus T plus 100 plus 600 plus 70 minus 50 minus 0.2 Y. And when we get summation of 100, 100, 60, 70 minus 50, it's equal to 280. And T is equal to 0. So 0.8y minus 0.2y. So it's equal to aggregate expenditure equal to 280 plus 0.6y. This is the aggregate expenditure function. When you find the aggregate expenditure function totally, this is the autonomous amount part. When you find it, normally there are two unknown variables, aggregate expenditure part and y. At that point, you can remember the equilibrium condition. And equilibrium condition is that one. Y equal to aggregate expenditure, or aggregate expenditure is equal to total income. That means that when you see aggregate expenditure, that turn into the total income. So we can change aggregate expenditure to Y. So the equation turn into like that. So put one side into the Y and other sides become alone. That's 0.6 Y. Go to the other sides with negative value. So Y minus 0.6 Y. This is 0.Y. This looks like 1 minus 0.6. So 0.4y equal to 280. How can we find alone? Divide both sides to the 0.4 or divide, put other side to the 0.4. So total income equilibrium or income equilibrium, mostly called, is equal to 700. Okay, I think that's all. I'm gonna give brief information about the midterm. Please check the old slides and everything. If you have a question, please send email to me before the exam or before the lecture. I'm gonna make the lecture before the exam. You are also able to ask anything about me. And please start to work or studying that exam, not start in the previous day of the exam, okay? Thanks for your watching and good luck on your exam. See you on lecture. Bye-bye.